This is the Between Ghosts of El Paso, Part 7. Let's take a look at where the threats stand right now. You currently have 2 active threats, the Corset and the Hunt for Rebel Gold. And right now on the Corset, you have 5 clues on 2 potential questions, different ways of resolving the threat. And then we have a threshold question on the Hunt for Rebel Gold, which is, where is this missing gold? I'll remind you, since that's the most recent one, that everyone saw this like sort of spectral apparition or like echo like come through the town showing the past, which was basically some rurales chasing some Confederate soldiers on a carriage, and some different things happened, but basically it ended up in a shootout. And there's a story that there is rebel gold that is like hidden somewhere that is not accounted for. You all have started having dreams about gold, which just helps further reinforce the idea that the gold is important to this. Also, all of this started because the wreckage of an old Confederate ship washed up on the Rio Grande a few miles away, and it is slowly getting closer and closer. Basically, at night, it like appears as a ghost ship and gets a little bit further down the river. So you're on a bit of a timer as well on this one. And you have a Janus mask available there as well, called the Mask of Gold. Let's take a look at the hunters really quickly. Just get a quick condition check. Oh, we are loaded up with conditions today, except for everybody except for Wyatt. But everybody else has at least 2, and Sister Mary has 3, one of which is not going away, 2 of which are not going away anytime soon. So, yeah. And so are there any questions before we begin the day phase? Okay. Then I will kick off with introducing a brand new threat. Our threat is called Ghost Be Gone. This is a couple days after the events of last time. Last night, a spectacle which you each witnessed. A crowd gathered on the street, drawn by a boxy wagon with a canvas roof and drop-down canvas sides. In front of the wagon was a display table featuring several bottles filled with green, glowing liquid. The bottles were labeled Ghost Be Gone. A boy stepped from the wagon and blew a brass bugle and announced, "Dr. Jebediah F. Clarkson's Ghost Be Gone, all-purpose spectral repellent guaranteed." Then, an older man in a smart black striped suit and a gray top hat stepped up on a small box. He said, "Greetings to the town of El Paso. Brothers, sisters, I am here to announce the arrival of reinforcements to help combat the curse of the wounded knight." He then explained he was offering the town a tried and tested, honest-to-goodness ghost repellent. The crowd was eager to believe it. A terrible howl rose, and a ghost materialized from the ground in front of the wagon between Dr. Clarkson and the crowd. Let's see who has the highest sensitivity. It is Slade. Slade, it was a real ghost. How do you know?
Slade, well, I mean, frankly, he just knows, but also his eyes reflect the light of the ghosts in a way that it doesn't reflect normal light. So he can tell when it happens, and other people who might look at him can tell.
Very good. With a flourish, Dr. Clarkson produced a bottle of Ghost Be Gone from his coat pocket, and he took a swig. The ghost glowed brightly and then faded, its spectral screams drowned out by the townsfolk's cheering. People crowded the small table and bought bottles of repellent by the armload. Dr. Clarkson assured those who were not able to purchase a bottle that more would be available soon. Who has the highest reason? That would seem to be Sister Mary. No, it's a tie. You all have zeros. Well, I'm going to pose this one to Sister Mary. Sister Mary, how do you know the ghost was putting on an act?
Mm, when you take a lot of confessions over, your life, you get to know when people are actually afraid or contrite or in pain. This was a pretty good act. This is a very good ghost actor. However, it is definitely an act.
So it is a ghost, but it is a ghost that is pretending to be repelled by the ghost begone. Finally, let's see who has the highest composure. I think that is probably it's between Slade and Wyatt, but we'll go with Wyatt. Wyatt, how do you know the ghost is somehow bound to Dr. Clarkson and would kill the charlatan if given the chance?
There was a slight pause before it dispelled, where this look of absolute rage filled its eyes. And after the whole story is put together, once Sister Mary lets us know it was putting on an act, it was like, oh, it wants to get him.
The Ghost Begone grift may end up being nothing more than a nuisance, but the situation could take a dark turn, especially if El Paso starts believing in the serum and lets its guard down. In either case, the Vigilance Committee will be vigilant. We have 3 questions here. The first is, how can the ghost under Dr. Clarkson's control be freed? It's a complexity 4. It allows you to resolve the threat by freeing the ghost and letting it have its revenge. The threat is resolved, but the ghost might be a lingering danger, so just be aware of that. Second question, what secrets can be used to convince Dr. Clarkson to leave town for good? That's a complexity 6. Resolve the threat by exposing Dr. Clarkson's secrets to the town, forcing him to pick up stakes. And the third question is a complexity 8. How can you convince Dr. Clarkson to stop his scheme and work with the committee? Resolve the threat by bringing Dr. Clarkson and whatever abilities he has under the control of the committee. This makes Dr. Clarkson available as a reward. There is no aspect of the Janus mask on this particular threat, so nothing there to lean back on. But we are in the day phase, so why don't we go around the table and find out what everyone is interested in doing today. I'm going to start with Sister Mary, since you have the most conditions right now, Sister Mary.
I would like to meet up with my spiritual ward, Travis, to ensure that his, spiritual journey is still taking the up route and not the other one.
Very good. Wyatt, what about you?
I think that I need to figure out this corset business. I need to deal with this Ghost Begone person, but it seems mostly harmless right now. And this corset business is taking lives almost every day, it seems.
Yeah,
so
the Ghost Begone actually it actually is totally harmless right now. There's no danger apart from just the possibility that people in El Paso drop their guard, right? So.
Right. Yeah, and I don't love that, but I need to stop this killer as quick as possible. So I'm gonna make my way over there.
Sounds good. Slade.
I think I'll accompany Wyatt.
Well, Travis.
I will check in with Wyatt first and then go under Sister Mary's wing, I guess.
We'll start with that scene.
Yeah. With Travis and Wyatt.
Yeah.
Do you have any conditions?
I have 2.
Okay. Do you want to try and set the scene?
Yeah, I'm just Yeah, I think Travis is up early for a change, and Wyatt comes into the marshal's office to find Travis already there with his feet up on the desk and a dime novel in his hand, and Sister Mary's Bible also on the desk next to him, which is what he started reading and got bored and switched to the dime novel.
Morning there. Getting some early reading in. Looks like you've got some heady stuff there.
Morning, Wyatt. Yeah, I started in on this Bible Sister Mary gave me, but it's maybe a little early for that.
I suppose so. Replacing them these and thous with howdies isn't quite cutting it enough.
I just want to give it my proper attention after I'm awake.
That sounds prudent, being the Lord's word and all. Look, Travis, ever since that business with the Skags, I've been pretty worried about you. I know you're fast, I know you're quick, I know you're deadly, but they practically had guns to the back of your head when I saw you. I thought you were gone for sure.
Yeah, well, they didn't reckon with the Sidewinder Kid, I guess.
Look, that's all good and all for your dime store stories, but doesn't it get to you at all? Don't you feel a little bit shaky? Don't you feel a little bit nervous? Feel like you could use, a moment of breath before you do something crazy again?
Well, the way I look at it, Wyatt, we don't have long on this earth, and folks has carried guns on their hips probably shorter than most, so I don't got much time to sit around.
Look, I'm asking you for my sake, for your brother's sake, your dear old brother. Just keep an eye on this Grifton fella with his glowing green nonsense. It seems like it's gonna need taken care of, but maybe, you won't get killed by a corset that you can't manage to shoot. You think you can manage that for me?
Why, sure, Wyatt. I'll go take a poke around his wagon, maybe. How's that sound?
That's fine. That's fine. Just try to stay out of harm's way for a minute. I don't know. I feel 10 years older after that incident.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Wyatt, and I'll surely try to avoid any such trouble today. But like I say, it ain't me what goes looking for trouble. Trouble comes looking for me.
I know. But if I can steer you a little clear of some danger, maybe it'll be the one that counts.
Maybe. But remember, I'm here looking out for you too.
Look, you don't got to worry about me. I had plenty of people look out for me, and bad things happen to all of them. So you just let me worry about looking out for you. And you still meeting with that Sister Mary, right? You keep up with that. And whenever you got your head on straight in the morning, had some coffee or what have you, maybe you do to another perusing through the good book or what have you.
Maybe. It seems to me that sometimes she takes that book a little too serious.
Well, I reckon that's her business.
That feels
I'm
good.
not telling you to become a brother, but you can listen to the sister.
I'm going to cut over to Slade. Slade, the Rurales never left town. They've stayed in the area. If you recall, they are the ones who chased the Skaggs gang away. And you are approached by their leader, who is Benito Diaz. He's wearing a dove gray uniform with leather chaps and very large brimmed sombrero, and he has a bandolier of ammunition on his chest. And he rides his horse, who you've learned is named Maximo, and he rides right up to you, and he like is very like close. He's like a close talker, but he's a close rider when he's like talking to people, right? And so he gets the horse just like right up by you, right? And so he's kind of looking down on you a little bit because I assume you're not on horseback. And he says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Slade."
It seems passable.
Ah, very interesting sense of humor. Well, I'll just get right to it, Mr. Slade. I'm led to believe that you are a man of few words, and so I'm going to make this as direct as possible. I've heard a rumor that you saw what happened here a few days ago, a vision of Confederate soldiers being chased through the streets by men in uniforms very similar to mine. What have you discovered so far? I know you've been looking into it, you and your vigilance committee.
It is our responsibility.
Well, and it is my responsibility to recover that gold. Perhaps we can work together.
Interesting. I found hands, severed, one with a ring, old, buried in the feed store.
What was special about this ring?
I know we saw a Zipe Totek somewhere in town. Where was that?
That was on the church side of the church, the Methodist church, the burned down one.
It featured a design similar to that which can be found on the burned church.
He's like, I've seen it. I've been to the location of the shootout all those years ago. You know, my father was one of the original rurales that pursued those gold thieves back then, and he died for his troubles. So for me, this is not just about recovering gold. It's about justice, though recovering the gold is part of that justice, I suppose.
And revenge?
That's one way of putting it. I prefer the word justice, though, Mr. Slade. Revenge comes with unsavory moral implications.
And what arrangement would you be searching for?
Well, perhaps we just communicate with each other. If I see something, I'll tell you. If you see something, you'll tell me. You've already helped me, so I'll help you.
And when the gold is found?
Mr. Slade, are you asking for a cut of the so-called rebel gold because you don't look like the type who would really be into that sort of thing?
There are others in need.
Well, I suppose we shall have to cross that bridge when we get there. Have you had a chance to go out to the wreckage of the ship yet?
No.
Well, if you go out there, especially at night, be careful. Me and my people went out there last night, and let's just say we didn't get far.
And your people, are they still with us?
Most of them, yes. I lost a couple in the shootout with the Skags. And I lost a couple more last night going out to the Memphis. It actually turned its cannons on us, Mr. Slade. Except it wasn't firing cannonballs. It was firing balls of green spectral fire that wailed in the sky as they flew. And when they landed, everything in the vicinity of the explosion was drained of its life force. Plants, my men, their horses.
And if it is nearing town, that must not happen.
Well, now we are even, Mr. Slade. I'll keep my eyes open if you do the same.
This is acceptable.
And he rides off. Although, Wyatt, you will see, since Slade is approaching, you'll see Benito talking to Slade as well. Benito did check in with you in the interim between the shootout and today, mostly just to make sure everything was kind of okay and under control, and that he was happy to be there to help. He cast no aspersions whatsoever on your ability to maintain law in town. Let's pick up with Sister Mary and Travis. Actually, well, let's check in with Travis and Wyatt really quickly. Were you? I couldn't tell if you were triggering vulnerable move there or not.
I was indulging in my vice.
Oh, were you? I missed that. What was your vice?
The dime novels.
Oh, that's right.
I had my feet up on the desk and was
That's
reading.
right. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah. If you think you cleared one, you can go for it.
I feel
Probably
like no
Marked by the
one,
Daisy
no
Man?
one will remember. Yeah, maybe that one, because
That's not even super relevant anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, and Wyatt has indicated that he is going to take care of the corset. So the corset's a different threat. Yeah,
It's a different threat.
But yeah. No one will remember me is probably worse because Wyatt told me to stay out of trouble. But
which of the bonuses do you want? Do you want to invite Wyatt to ask you a question, or do you want to find a clue?
I'll invite Wyatt to ask me a question.
If you got a question, Wyatt, go for it. Otherwise, I'll come back to
you. Yeah. I think just before Wyatt's like gonna walk out and leave, he stops and pauses in the door and turns around. It's like, Traps, do you remember a time when we was just itty bitty? I have the foggiest recollection about a time when you got between me and something worse, but I can't recall exactly what happened.
Heck, I haven't thought about that in years. But yeah, I think I know what you mean. You was always off getting in trouble, and you was my big brother, and I was scared. And yeah, it seems like you riled someone up real good. And he came to our house looking to give you a whipping or maybe worse. And he stopped when he seen me. And I was, shoot, why, I must have just been 3 years old. But I can remember it clear as day now you bring it up. And I just stood there in the doorway of the house, and he, like he looked to this little boy and changed his mind about whatever hellfire he was going to bring down on us.
I never want to put you in a spot like that again. Now, it's my business to see to all this Wounded Knight stuff since our uncle.
But hell, what? I ain't no kid no more. And
I know, and that's why I made you deputy. But you let me stand in the gap. You let me stand in the gap. All right.
We can both do it, Wyatt. Both do it for each other.
It's something to think on, but it's the natural order of things. Older Brother looking up for the younger. I don't want to let that get out of balance again.
That's good. I like it. Sister Mary, you are probably heading over to find Travis, or maybe vice versa. I don't know, but in any case, you're out on the streets. And there's another street salesman out on the streets today. Not the Ghost Be Gone salesman, not Dr. Clarkson, but someone else. They see you. And they say, "Ma'am, you right there. I have a map that will lead to the Rebel Gold, and you can have it for the entirely reasonable price of just 15 American dollars. Why, $15 is nothing when you consider how much beautiful golden lucre you and yours will soon be swimming in."
How have you come by this map?
"Madam, if I told you all of my secrets, I certainly wouldn't have much of a trade, would I? Would you ask the doctor the formulations for his tonics?
Yes.
Would you ask, well, perhaps you would. Would you ask the miner to tell you how he knows where to find a prosperous vein? No, you would not. Or perhaps
I
you
am
would.
merely asking if you are reputable, or if you are one of those salesmen that just goes around and grifts.
At this point, Benito Diaz rides up between the two of you and snatches the map out of his hands. He says, "Rebel Gold, eh?" And he's like looking at the map. And the man says, good sir, my dear Mexican friend, you cannot just take things out of my hand without paying for them. Sister Mary, this is theft, is it not?"
I suppose it's theft if he means to keep it. Otherwise, it's just perusing the merchandise. Is it not?
Benito kind of like smiles and he says, "This map is a fake. It doesn't lead to anything except heartbreak, I fear." And he folds it up, but puts it in his pocket.
I do hope you intend on returning that.
He says, perhaps.
No, you see, this man is correct. If you take this from him without payment, it is theft. Theft, as I'm sure you understand, is not exactly smiled upon in the eyes of the Lord.
He says, is it theft even if the thing being stolen is fundamentally inherently deceitful? If it
Yes.
itself will lead to dishonest outcomes.
Theft is theft. What you do with it is up to you.
He takes the map out and puts it back in the street hawker's hands. You can go ahead and mark a box on your pious tracker. And he says, good afternoon to you both. And he rides off.
And
then,
you,
yeah,
she points at the
says,
salesman.
I assure you, this map is completely legitimate. I don't know what that man was talking about.
I am absolutely appalled that you walk into this town, my town, and try to sell false things to people here. These are good people who deserve better, and you should be absolutely ashamed of yourself for your deception.
Good. He looks a little sheepish and he says, perhaps I'll find another corner. And he walks off. You can put another mark on your box too. Let's cut over to, well, it seems like we're all kind of converging at this point, I think, at the marshal's office in some sense, if that's okay. Let's have a rare scene with all of you together. I think that'd be fun. I think you're next in, Slade. And then Sister Mary, you're shortly behind.
Ah, it seems we have a vigilance committee meeting and I wasn't invited.
Something spontaneous. What can I do you all for? Slade, I was expecting you. We got some corset business to deal with, and not in a fun way.
Yes, but perhaps more pressing, the the Memphis may pose a very real danger to the people of the town.
You don't say. Well, what have you heard that I haven't?
Benito Diaz reported it was firing from its cannons material that seemed to destroy anything it touched.
The Rurales, they tried to attack the ship?
It did not go well.
Hmm.
I suppose the corset is also of urgent need.
That ship is getting closer and closer, but it's not the most imminent thing. That corset is right on our doorstep, and it's killed some of our townsfolk. I agree the Memphis is a priority, but this corset, it's been going on too long.
Well, I'm happy to do an exorcism on the corset. But unfortunately, that sort of thing, well, doesn't work so well during the day.
Has that not already been tried? I thought that was on the long list of things we'd already attempted.
Yes, but I didn't attempt it.
I would be interested in witnessing this.
But for now, I would like young Mr. Walker to update me on his biblical studies. Have you been keeping up with the good book?
Well, yes, ma'am. I read a little more.
That's it.
Are you going to give me a test? Or how's this work?
Do I need to give you a test? Are you retaining the knowledge? Are you retaining the information? Are you putting this information that you read, these stories, these truths into your heart, into your soul, into your whole essence of being?
Mr. Slade, I reckon we should leave the sister to her pupil.
If you are sure Travis will not need our assistance.
Oh, no, I'm sure Sister Mary means him no harm. She's just, well, she's being a righteous taskmaster, that's all. Sister Mary? Travis, you mind her?
Slade will just walk out silently.
Slade, as you step outside, you see a couple of local dowagers excitedly clutching their bottles of Ghost Be Gone. And they're saying to each other, well, the wounded knight, that will soon be a thing of the past, or at least the menace associated with it. And then the other one, clutching her bottle as well, says, no thanks to the Vigilance Committee, very pointedly in your direction.
We do not require your appreciation.
Mrs. Randolph? Beatrice?
Marshall Walker, have you had a chance to pick up your bottle of Ghost Be Gone yet?
I have some reason to believe it's not as effective as the showman would have you believe it to be, but I have not proven it myself. I have other business to be about. Be careful. Be vigilant. Don't trust just everything that strangers come into town and telling you.
And they sort of harumph and they walk off.
Perhaps we should acquire a bottle.
I mean to. I sent Travis an errand to see what that man is about, but you and I, Mr. Slade, we have to deal with something a little bit more fearsome. Now, to whalebone bodices.
So it sounds like Slade and Wyatt are heading over to the Red Rock. Travis and Sister Mary, where are you two at? Are you done having your your counseling session?
I think once the other two leave, Sister Mary's going to watch them go and wait a few moments to make sure that they're not going to come back. I'm just going to turn back to Trav and say, well, young Mr. Walker, I have a surprise for you.
Is this that quiz?
I'm not actually going to give you a quiz unless you think you deserve it.
Well, I don't know about deserve. So what is this surprise?
She reaches into her pockets and pulls out a little dime store novel. This here I found at the store. It is the story of David and Goliath, which is from the Book of Samuel, as I'm sure you know, done in dime store novel format, or dime novel format, which I come to understand is your preference. Now,
Well,
I'm sure you've read the Book of Samuel by now, correct?
I'm not sure I got that far yet. I was getting into some interesting things about Sodom and Gomorrah and the Lord raining down vengeance, and it kind of reminded me of that business the other night with the Skaggs boys.
And the story of David and Goliath could be related. It is the story of a young man who was, in every aspect, overpowered by a horrifying giant. And God made it so that David could take down Goliath without the use of swords or shields or any sort of weapon, really, other than a small stone. Now, it's something for you to keep in mind, considering your tendency to go on shooting sprees.
You saying I should trade in these here pistols for a sling?
I'm saying that life on the mortal plane is short. God will provide you with what you need, but how you use it is up to you. And how you use it, your actions here, well, as we know, the afterlife is eternal. Decide where you want to go with that. I will quiz you on this book, though.
Now, I was talking to one of the preachers one time, and he told me that the Lord already knows who's going to heaven and who's going to hell. He's one of those, I don't know, Calvinist, he said. Is that what you're talking about?
Are you suggesting that it doesn't matter how you act? The things that are going to happen are going to happen?
I'm not suggesting nothing, I'm asking.
And I'm saying you do good works and God will see. You do bad works, well, God will see that too. Do you want to be remembered for good works? Do you want to be lauded by the Lord for good works? Or do you want to be forgotten? That's your
Well,
choice.
Travis gets to thinking about that, I think. Definitely doesn't want to be forgotten.
Indeed not. Do we think there's a condition? Well, maybe if you yeah, probably like ruminating on this conversation would probably clear that no one will remember me condition. It is your vice,
I'll take it,
Travis.
yeah.
Yeah, it is your vice if you want to find a clue or invite Sister Mary to ask you a question about the past.
Yeah, let's. I'm tempted to go for a clue this time.
Think on it. You get to define it, decide what threat it's for, and then think what it is. We'll cut over to Slade and Wyatt. This time of day, the dance hall is not generally open for business, though you can certainly go over there, especially considering that Lola and Diamond Dave know what you're there to do. It might be good to kind of check in on the what's kind of going on here a little bit. So we have kind of established through the clues that Lady Antonia gave the corset to Luann, which I think is an important detail. And also that there was a thing going on possibly between Diamond Dave and Luann as well. Another thing. Del Sol has said that all the victims are, quote, wearing masks. Typically cryptic Del Sol stuff, but nevertheless, an interesting idea. Hannah Russell was added to the list of victims killed in quite a gruesome public way at the assemblage. Assuming you come in first through the cantina, which is the open part. Everything is as I've described it before. Repurposed barrel furniture, maybe a couple of dance hall girls, letting some nighttime workers here in the day cash in their dance tokens. Wyatt, what do you do?
I think my plan is to go upstairs and like investigate further in the rooms that are up there, like all of the quarters and apartments. We haven't gotten a good look at those.
I think when you get over to the stairs, which are behind the main stage in the dance hall, you'll see Stretch there sitting on the stairs. And he kind of gets up. He's like, "Oh, hey, Marshall."
Stretch. Doing good work, I see.
Well, it's not too much to do here this time of day. My services are much more effectively rendered at night when there are plenty of drunkards with roaming eyes and hands.
I reckon so. Anything unusual happened the past day or two?
Go ahead and roll the information move with presence.
$10.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Slade, what are you doing in the meantime?
Was the dance hall damaged at all by the explosion?
Maybe a little bit by the cantina entrance, yeah. Like maybe like on the outside, like maybe like a hitching post kind of blew up or whatever.
I think he'll be investigating. So the church had an underground tunnel that was blocked because of a fire. Maybe did the explosion uncover anything under the Red Rock?
Oh, maybe, yeah. Has anyone? I can't remember if we've done that in this particular. Sister Mary, you went down into the root cellar, correct? Because I think you were looking at bodies down there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. There is that space under the Red Rock, right? Which is well known about. But maybe the idea that there might be other subterranean spaces is an interesting idea in town. Yeah, make the information move. See where it goes.
4.
4. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and resolve these things. Okay, Travis, what's the clue you found and for which threat?
I was thinking of something for Ghost Be Gone. Because Travis is going to head out and scope out the wagon where the this stuff is being sold from. So I was wondering if he can find something to do with, I haven't exactly figured out what, but something to do with the materials used to make the Ghost Be Gone potion itself.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is something, obviously this is something you have to like discover in proximity to your scene with Sister Mary. And so
it could even just be getting a bottle of it from some passerby outside the
I kind of like
office.
that. Yeah, maybe like a maybe like, let's say an empty bottle with some residue.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. We'll come back to that scene with you in a moment. Sister Mary, what are you going to do once you're done with Travis?
Well, if the corset's being taken care of, I think I'll probably go with Travis actually to look at this guy's cart, investigate what he's up to.
Sounds good. We could just pick up there. So, Dr. Clarkson. So during the day, the wagon is actually secured near a warehouse in North El Paso. At night, it's all opened up and moved onto Main Street or Santa Fe Street, maybe San Francisco Street, depends. But right now, it's just parked by this warehouse. And the warehouse itself used to store lumber and materials for a planned train yard in this part of town. You're both there. No sign of Dr. Clarkson. What do you do?
Now, Sister Mary, if you keep an eye out, I aim to take a look inside this here wagon, see if I can find out anything useful.
Well, be careful not to break anything. This stuff doesn't belong to you.
Travis will just give her a look like, are you talking to a 5-year-old?
Sister Mary, what are you doing in the meantime?
I want to look around kind of at the warehouse. I want to see why it's parked here of all places.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So the doors to the warehouse are secured. You can't just walk in, but there is a person at the door. That is Harry Etheridge. I'll put his name down here. Kind of near the entrance. He'll kind of like, this is kind of near the front, the wagon's round side, we'll say. Harry Etheridge he has very sun-damaged skin. His work clothes he has like a faded red shirt and dusty brown pants. He does have a pistol on his hip, though. It looks like it's seen better days. And I think as the two of you are kind of like, just kind of walking by, maybe trying to look a little surreptitious, he says, y'all best be moving along. There ain't no committee business here. I appreciate what you all do for the town, but I can't just let you wander wherever you want.
Now, Mr. Etheridge. When you say
I'm a-
things like that, it just makes us more suspicious.
And you should bear in mind, sir, that I'm a deputized marshal of this town, and I'll go where I please. And when I say I'm done, then I'm done.
He says, Travis Walker, there is no one in the township of El Paso who takes that tin badge on your shirt seriously. At least when it's pinned to your shirt.
Now, Mr. Etheridge, there's no need to be impolite. I would like to use my move where I get to know what people have confessed. I feel like I've probably heard Harry's confession at some point.
You can tell me what it is and then use it as leverage right now.
I think he has...
I'll tell you. I think he steals from the warehouse.
Now, Mr. Etheridge, no need to be up on your high horse.
What does that mean, Sister Mary?
Well, you and I both know where you're getting your extra lumber from.
He says, Sister Mary, I was led to believe that there was certain matters of confidentiality between lay people and their religious.
And there absolutely is. In fact, I'm very happy to take your confession whenever you wish, and I'm happy to keep your secrets for you. If You would also do us the same favor. There is also a certain confidentiality between a vigilance committee and its townsfolk.
He's like, so what do you want?
I just want to take a little peek inside. Make sure everything's on the up and up. Spiritually, of course.
Go ahead and make the day move. I'll let you take an advantage, though, because of the confession.
I think I'm mostly just afraid he's not going to let me in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are you worried about? Yeah.
Oh no. What am I rolling with?
Probably presence, right?
Oh, okay. Well, that gives me a 7.
Okay. He says, all right, fine, but you got to be quick about it.
Of
And I'm
course,
going in
of
with
course.
you.
I would not expect anything different, especially since you're charged with protecting this place. You are charged with protecting this place. Is that correct?
He says, well, yes. If this is Vigilance Committee business, though, I think it's best if, well, he says, he's like, just you, only you come in.
Absolutely. And you'll be perfectly safe, I'm sure, with me being there. If there is something spiritually abhorrent in this place, a murderous ghost, a horrifying zombie, something that'll eat your face, well, I'm sure that I can probably take care of it on my own and protect you. Your gun won't be any use, unfortunately. And I'm sure that you're brave enough to withstand whatever could happen in here if you join me. I
He's
don't
like,
want to
let's just make it quick. And he'll take you inside. We'll come back to that in a moment. Also, Travis, you're outside the warehouse. You going round to the wagon then?
Yeah, while Sister Mary is distracting the onlookers, Travis is going to get inside that wagon and do some investigating.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Wyatt Walker. Stretch says, well, Marshall, Lola and Diamond Dave won't come right out and say it, but I think there's something going on with people going missing around here. And I think I know what happened to Marta, the piano player.
What's that?
Well, I discovered that Marta was, well, she did a little bit of songwriting and music composition in addition to just playing piano. And, well, a few times she made it very clear to me that she was, romantically interested in me. And I think she's a perfectly nice woman, but I did not reciprocate my feelings. And I didn't really think much of it. But then I found this, and he'll kind of he'll go off and he'll come back and he'll show you what looks to be like sheet music. Marta was writing a love song. He says, I think this is about me. And I didn't realize the depth of her feeling until I saw this. And I think maybe when I turned her down, perhaps she ran off, or God forbid, maybe she did something to herself. I don't think I could live with myself if she,
And remind me, Marta's just missing at this point?
No, her body's in the root cellar.
Okay.
Her blood got
It
solid
was
like
stiff,
cement. Right?
Yeah.
But no one knows that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Except for Lola and Diamond Dave. And you all.
Well, this is interesting. Do you mind if I hang on to this?
No, not at all. Not at all. If this thing, if Marta's disappearance is connected to Luann's disappearance, and then that poor girl who died from whatever took her during the town meeting. Well, of course, there's Mr. Stanton as well, who I haven't seen around. There's just too much going on right now, Marshall. I'm starting to feel like this place is cursed.
Now, hard to say. Hard to say. Sometimes people just up and pick up stakes and leave during the Wounded Night and come back later, but
I suppose that's true. This is the first time I've been here for one. I tell you, that red moon, it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
good reason, too. It's an unnatural thing, but we deal with it. I'm gonna need up the stairs, though. I need to have a closer look at some of the quarters.
Yeah, I'll take you up there, no problem. And he will go up there. Your clue, though, is that Marta was writing a love song. Slade. You're mostly just seeing the destruction of where Marshall Walker kicked the dynamite out. Part of the door is blasted away. The hitching post is blasted away. No one was hurt, though certainly there were some close calls. And then you hear panting behind you, Mr. Slade. Mr. Slade. Mr. Slade. It's Deputy Wainwright.
Slade will turn slowly and just look at him flat.
He's like, I saw you kind of looking at what happened here, and golly, can I tell you something, Mr. Slade? Something I don't think I could tell Marshall Walker. Though certainly there are weird things going on in town, so you might receive it better than I think. But nevertheless, I don't want him to think I'm a compromised asset.
Interesting. Please.
Well, ever since that night, when the Skaggs brothers shot up the town, I've been visited, Mr. Slade, by a woman, resplendent in a gown of gold. She told me I was supposed to die that night. She said the hand of fate somehow intervened and prevented me from dying, but that I was nevertheless supposed to die. And every time I'm here, right now even, in this very spot, I imagine myself, blown to smithereens.
I've recently learned of a phenomenon called dreams. Could this perhaps be what you are experiencing?
Well, I do dream, Mr. Slade. People generally dream, Mr. Slade. Are you telling me you never had dreams as a kid, and your mama and your daddy never mentioned anything about dreams, the very concept of dreams?
No, they certainly did not.
Well, Mr. Slade, I know what it's like to dream, and my dreams don't usually involve beautiful, resplendent women in gold. They mostly involve, me standing before the town assemblage, having a deputy's badge pinned to my chest, except I'm not wearing any clothes.
That would be painful. I would advise a shirt.
Yes, anyway, have you seen her, this woman in gold?
I have not. But you feel convinced that what she says has truth?
She says I'm supposed to die.
All are meant to die, Deputy.
Well, there are just so many things I haven't done yet, Mr. Slade. Things I want to accomplish. I have dreams, I don't mean the kind that you have that when you're sleeping at night, like you just learned about, apparently. I mean like ambitions, you know?
Of course you do. That is perfectly normal, Deputy.
Well,
But you need not fear death. It is the most natural thing in the world. Many have taken that path before you, and billions will take it after. But perhaps we should avoid dynamite.
thank you, Mr. Slade. That's very kind of you to say. And that I wouldn't say it puts me at ease any, but I certainly recognize the effort you have made, and that counts for something.
I will ask my compatriots about this woman in gold. Perhaps they will know something.
Mr. Slade, can I give you a hug?
No.
All right. Well, and he walks on.
Slade will watch for a moment and then just head back into the Red Rock.
Indeed. So we are now, let's check in with Marion Travis. Let's talk about the warehouse. So the warehouse is used to store lumber and materials for a planned train yard north of El Paso. There are, large crates covered by old tarpaulins, lumber, tools, that kind of thing. It's very dusty. It's got that smell, that Home Depot smell. I don't know if they have Home Depot in Canada, but it's that really particular metallic, lumbery smell. I think it's a great smell. I love it. I love that smell. Let's paint the scene. How has this place, everyone, been affected by Dr. Clarkson's trapped ghost?
All of the shelving and basically everything that doesn't need to be moved has been bolted to the ground to prevent it from being thrown or tossed about in a fit of anger.
All the light, what little light is leaking in through the windows and whatnot, is tinged with green.
Some of the lumber is frost damaged, even though it's warm in here.
There's a particular spot that the ghost inhabits that like has become like unnaturally ectoplasmic.
Well, Sister Mary, you're there. You don't have a lot of time. I think whatever his name is, Etheridge, what's his name? Harry, he's not going to let you stay long. So what do you do?
I'm going to call out for the ghost.
Oh, interesting. Ah, intriguing.
I want to talk to it.
Can't decide if this is information move or day move or even night move, possibly. Let's do we'll do the day move for now. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I guess I'm afraid it's just not going to show itself.
Go ahead. How do you call for it? What do you say? What do you do?
Hello? I know you're in here. I can see the ectoplasm.
Harry says, the ecto what?
Oh, don't you worry about this, Harry. This is Vigilance Committee stuff.
Make the information move with presence. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, no, that's a 4.
No, hold that thought. May not be as bad as you think. Travis? I think you are able to, once you confirm that Dr. Clarkson's not in the wagon, there's nobody else around, you can probably just like jimmy your way into the little door towards the back. Now at nighttime, you've all seen it. One side of one side of a canvas rolls down with advertisements, and then the side of the wagon itself extends to make like a tent. So it's set up like a little shop. During the day, though, it's just a kind of really tightly packed space. There's a little narrow cot and just lots of like shelves and cupboards and things. Paint the scene, everyone. What would have been enticing about this place when you were young? You can interpret that however you wish, Slade.
I think for Travis, there's kind of a cave-like quality to the way the cot bed is set up and surrounded by all these shelves. And it's actually quite a comfortable bed. So he can imagine himself as a kid kind of curled up in there and surrounded by all these trinkets and knickknacks and what have you, that it's quite a secure feeling place.
I think this is definitely a place that would not be frequented by a middle class Londoner, and thus Sister Mary's mother would never have approved of her being around here or even anywhere close to this. And I think that itself is sort of rebellious and adventurous. That would have been very enticing to a young Sister Mary.
It's got like a shelf like bolted on to one side that's just got like all kinds of different colored bottles. And that's just kind of a delight of to the senses.
It actually, for many years, was something of a graveyard for a species of Papasaurus campbellis, which they're kind of ankylosaurus-like. And Slade would have loved to watch them do their burial rites.
Maybe just like the area in general.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're in this wagon, Travis. What do you do? You're muted.
Search through those shelves and cupboards looking for anything that indicates, how he's making this concoction. What it's, what is it really? Is it a real thing? Is it actually legitimate juju, or is it snake oil?
Make the information move with reason.
Reason why? Not my best. That's a 2.
A 2. We'll come back to that. Wyatt Walker, you're up in the apartments. And I can't remember if we did the paint the scene for the apartments or not. It was basically like, how do you know that this job is a real step up in life for the girls that work here? Did we do that one? Sound familiar? Let's do it now then. It's about a dozen rooms and living areas, all connected by a U-shaped hallway. The most spacious of these apartments have windows that look out over San Francisco Street, and the smallest ones don't have windows at all. Each room has a comfortable bed with silk sheets, an armoire, plush rugs. The very largest rooms have bathtubs. And paint the scene. Looking around, how do we know this is a real step up in life for most of these women? Apart from the things I've already said.
The amount of decorations and the size of frames, it's all too small for the space. It would only fit in a corner if it weren't spread out.
their belongings are a lot more run down looking, more well used looking than things that you would normally find in a place like this.
I think there's a remarkable amount of care shown to the upkeep and maintenance of the decorations. You know, the people who live here are really appreciate these things that probably weren't present in their lives elsewhere.
There is a new girl sitting on one of the beds with her hands on her cheeks, like looking around.
Why don't we start with her? Wyatt, you might see her. I think the doors may be open. She's wearing a robe and she's kind of looking around. You can actually see her suitcase like still like by the bed, you know. And when she sees you, she's like, "Oh," and she kind of goes to close the door. What do you do?
Oh, afternoon, miss. Stretch didn't say anybody was in here. I'm the marshal. Well, the owners have asked me to have a look around the place. They've been having some people suspicious that something is amiss. Don't mind me.
Stretch says, "It's okay, Timpani," and he'll kind of leave you to it and go back downstairs. And she says, "All right, my name's Timpani."
Afternoon. I don't believe I've met you before. You new to El Paso?
Oh yes, I just got here. Well, my family they have a farmstead about 30 miles from here, and well, word was put out that they were looking for help, and well, I wouldn't say I'm the best dancer, but Miss Navas is a very, very good teacher so far. And well, what's is there something going on I should know about, Marshall?
Well, miss, there have been some strange occurrences here, and well, you've lived in the homestead your whole life nearby.
Well, yes. And then she says, "Well, truth be told, Marshall, I ran away from home."
Miss Timpani, take it from someone who knows. You can't run away from your troubles. Is there
You're
something
not
going
going to
on
tell
at
my
home?
parents. You're not going to tell my parents, are you?
I'm not going to tell your parents nothing. It's none. Frankly, it's not my business. But I would tell you, you do know, having lived around here, what happens every 6 years or so.
Some of the other girls, they told me that one of the girls died recently, real violent like, and another one went missing.
That there have been some strange occurrences. I don't suppose I could ask you to consider perhaps postponing your joining the dance hall till just after the wounded night, even. Strange occurrences, ma'am, and well, I reckon it's probably safer at home, though you know your business better than I do.
Make the day move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail to convince her?
I'm afraid she's going to be the next victim.
Interesting. Go ahead and roll with presence.
So, let me see if I got any stuff that might help me. Nah, probably not. So 5.
She says, "Yes, Marshall, that's probably for the best." And then she says, "I will tell you, Marshall, I have seen some strange things here recently." Strange things I don't know how to explain, but I don't want to rock the boat. I just got here and all. Do you reply or
You want to share some more about that, ma'am? It could be relevant.
She says, well, yes, I do. She says, it has to do with this mirror. And there is indeed a very lovely full-length mirror in the room. She says, every time I stand in front of it, my reflection changes. And she stands in front of the mirror. And she says, see there? My collarbone. In my reflection, it's significantly thinner than it is in real life. And my fingers touching it, well, they look like shriveled things. Crone's fingers. Certainly I'm too young for those sorts of changes to start happening, Marshall. And she's not wrong. The reflection does look in small ways different. Perhaps it's just vanity. But perhaps it's something else.
It might just be a poorly formed mirror.
And then she turns and she has changed when she looks you in the face. Her skin is drawn more taut. She looks thinner. And she's wearing makeup that she wasn't wearing before. She says, Marshall. She can barely move her mouth. Her skin is so taut and rictus. I've never felt more like myself than when I first got here. And I feel every day I am becoming a better me. What do you suppose is a better you? Maybe you could stay here and we could discover it together. I have seen so many things, Marshall. She has not blinked in probably a minute. And her hairline is receding before your eyes. What do you do right now?
I think I'm just backing out the door, and trying to keep her at a distance.
How do you feel?
I mean, disturbed. I'm trying to figure out if I'm having some kind of vision or if this is actually happening. I'm trying to see if I can't get out the door for him to see if Stretch is nearby to confirm this is real.
Or downstairs.
I know, but it's that kind of thing where you need somebody to verify.
Take the condition disturbed.
All right.
She can barely open her mouth now. She's like, come back, Marshall. Come back. Perhaps you could show me around town, Marshall. Show me the sights. Her eyes are very wide. It's almost like they're being held open.
You best just have a seat now, ma'am.
And she does. And at this point, you can see the tendons on her neck. You can see what look like liver spots on her breastbone. And her hair is fully halfway back on her head at this point. She says, why don't you come sit next to me, Marshall?
I think I'm hollering out the door. I'm like, Slade, get in here. Slade, where are you?
Slade, you'll You'll just see Stretch coming down. You'll hear Marshall Walker. What do you do?
Just walk past Stretch on my way upstairs. Won't even acknowledge him.
Stretch is following you, though, because he heard Marshall call as well. Slade, when you get to the room, Timpani looks normal. And Wyatt, she looks normal again. She says, Marshall Walker, are you okay? You look like you saw a ghost.
Did you see a ghost?
Mr. Slade confer with me. I'm like shaking and sweating, like step outside the room, and I'll describe like what happened and like point out the mirror, like we might want to seize that thing.
Perhaps, yes. Have you been adequately hydrating?
Mr. Slade, this is not some kind of malady on me. This is the season of the Wounded Knight. Come on now.
Of course, yes. I will go stand before the mirror.
Oh. When you stand before the mirror, you see Timpani as she appeared to Wyatt in the reflection. But you know it's not her. It's this creature, whatever the corset is.
Kind of, he'll tilt his head at it and look back at Timpani and say, "You've seen nothing odd in this mirror?"
And she gets up and she walks behind you very, very close so that Marshall Walker can't hear or Stretch. And she whispers in your ear, I know who you are, horseman.
Then you know getting this close is risky.
For others, perhaps. Maybe even for this poor girl. And she wraps her hands around you in that embrace that Dudley wanted to give you, though certainly much more intimate. She's going to die. Do you try to prevent the death?
Yes.
You must make the, what move is it? Day or night move with disadvantage.
Day or night, yep.
Stakes are simple. She dies or she doesn't die. Go ahead and roll with, I can't remember if your move says one way or the other, but
Doesn't.
I would say probably vitality. Or just describe how you're doing it, how you're going to prevent it, then we'll decide.
So much like before, he can feel this woman's death leaving him and being drawn into her. And so he will turn quickly and kind of grasp her by the chin and try and pull it back into himself. With disadvantage, that is a 9.
It works. I'm going to give you the condition marked by the corset. But describe how you save her.
He's just going to stare her down and draw it back. If anyone were looking closely, they would almost see a strange light passing between their eyes, if it were dark, maybe. And he's just going to gently walk her back by the chin and sit her on the edge of the bed and say, "It's not this one's time. It will be yours."
Stretch says over your shoulder, Wyatt, I think it's probably best if we let her rest now. Let's cut over to Sister Mary. Sister Mary, I'm going to just stick. I mean, we set stakes already. I'm just going to say that there's just no response. You're just not hearing anything. What do you do?
I'm gonna turn to Harry and say, "How long have you been bodyguarding this place?"
I will say that Harry keeps like looking in one direction, kind of like, oh, I I always kind of, you know, I look out for things, security. That's my thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good thing. Have you seen anything strange? Perhaps over there, and she gestures to where he keeps looking.
He's like, no, no, no. We better go though. Come on, Sister Mary.
Yes, of course. Just one moment, please. And yeah, she's gonna go over to where he keeps looking and poke around over there. One part to see what's over there, and another part to see what he does.
He will say, Sister Mary, you can't go over there.
Oh, it's fine. Don't worry, Harry. I'm perfectly safe.
And he kind of like lets out a sigh.
It's very kind
And
of you to be worried about me.
and it actually just goes to like a wall, but it's a wall that is pretty clearly bisecting the building because it's a wall where that like shows the building ending before it should,
Mm-hmm.
based off how big it is. He's like, see, nothing.
Does it look like this wall has been recently put up? Like, does it match the other walls?
I would say yes, it does. I'll just answer that. He
Wow,
says,
this is some nice work. Did you build this?
so you got to come on now, Sister Mary. Let's go. And he will kind of usher you out at this point. Meanwhile, Travis, you have a gun trained on you. Someone has stuck their arm inside the wagon, pointing it at you. You can't see who it belongs to, but they have pulled back the thing and they are pointing it at you.
Travis will call out, I'm Marshal's deputy here on official business. Y'all stand down now.
The person on the other end of the gun will say, did you or the marshal happen to have official documentation saying you have a right to search this wagon, deputy?
You a lawyer, mister?
And he steps in, reveals himself to be, in fact, Dr. Jebediah F. Clarkson, as he's known in town. He says, no, but I am the owner of this transport. He steps in. He's wearing his black striped suit and his gray top hat. He says, I think you ought to go ahead and come on out.
Is he still pointing the gun? Is he still pointing the gun at me at this point?
Yes, but I think he's not interested in shooting you. I think he's interested in just resolving this peacefully. He says, maybe you can come back tonight and purchase a bottle.
I thank you to holster that gun, mister.
Fine, fine. He does.
And then, yeah, then I guess Travis will step down. But not without taking a good long look around as he's doing it.
I'm going to give you the condition marked by Dr. Clarkson. He's not so foolish as to just leave incriminating evidence laying around within. You can glance, but you will see Sister Mary being led out of the warehouse by Harry Etheridge. He says, I do hope that the Vigilance Committee has a fine rest of its afternoon. I understand You are probably feeling threatened by my presence in town. I understand that you feel as if my product is perhaps encroaching upon your territory, but you should know this is not a competition. You should know I consider myself a liberator. I am freeing the people of El Paso from their fear. What could be better than giving them the tools to pull themselves up out of the ghostly mire? I would say nothing.
That's all well and good, Doctor, but you understand we have a responsibility to make sure you ain't leading folks astray, selling them snake oil and such.
Well, I say go ask any of my many happy, satisfied customers. The ghosts are practically marching along the trail, rushing to get out of this town. They've packed their little ghostly bags, and they've gone on their way. The Wounded Knight will be something that no one has to worry about anymore.
Well,
Bad
I reckon
dream.
we'll see about that.
He tips his hat. Good day to you both, and closes the wagon.
Travis will look over at Sister Mary and just say, "You find anything interesting in there?"
I did. I think I might come back a little later for a better look.
I think perhaps I might join you.
Well, that sounds like a lovely date for this evening.
We'll check in briefly with Wyatt and Slade. You and Stretch, the two of you and Stretch are standing out in that U-shaped hallway. And you can hear Tempany giggling from the other side. What do you do?
I reckon there's something wrong with that mirror. It's a part of this business.
It's not the mirror, Wyatt. It's the corset and that which is bound to it.
Of course, it's not in that room right now.
No, but it may as well be. That girl is playing host.
So the girl is the problem?
Currently, but I suspect not for long. We must tend to the corset.
Don't know how we're going to resolve this business short of just destroying this whole place, but that seems to be what the corset plans.
Lola comes out of her apartment at this point. Marshall, Mr. Slade. She's wearing her turquoise dress with the gold trim. And she kind of comes up. She says, "Are you here scaring everyone half to death again?"
Whatever you brought into this place manages to do that all on its own.
Marshall, I bring nothing but entertainment and commerce to this place and to the town of El Paso.
I reckon that might be the case under normal circumstances, but this Wounded Knight business has turned your place into something else, and I'm at a loss as to how to deal with it. Mr. Slade, do you have any ideas?
I should like to lay my eyes upon the corset.
Lola says, "Well, it's just going to have to wait. We have a lot of business here. We're trying to get back on our feet after the events of the last few days. Everyone's scared to death, dynamite, and people going missing, and who knows what else. We're going to practice for a show, and I can't have the two of you skulking about. Not right now. Maybe later, when the girls are on stage."
Your Tempany is in danger. Waiting could be disastrous.
She says, "Well, Stretch, perhaps Stretch could Keep an eye on her, especially tonight.
Lola, that's not gonna do it. You don't understand. You
Oh,
called us into this place.
I do
You-
understand, Marshal Walker. I found 2 of the bodies, if you'll recall.
Then what on earth are you playing this game for?
Marshal, we have a business to run. We have people to. We've got people who depend on us. This place depends on us. We depend on people's money.
Is that business worth the lives of these young people?
Well, what do you recommend we do?
Shut this place down till the Wounded Knight is over. You can stand it. All you'll lose is a little bit of money. They'll lose their lives if you don't.
Not gonna happen.
If you won't, I will.
And she gets real close. She says, "Don't you try it, Marshal. I am one of the first residents of this town. I helped build this town, and I know people. You rode in on a horse, if I recall correctly, looking quite bedraggled. You only have your position because, well, you knew the last marshal, and nobody else is fool enough to take up that badge. But people like me, Diamond Dave, others, we are the engine that makes this train go."
Engines require fuel. You will run short if you keep this up.
She says, "Mr. Slade, I assure you, there is a timpani on every homestead."
There is no other timpani, madam.
She says, "Maybe it was a mistake to ask you all here. Now, we have business to attend to. Stretch, please help me show the marshal and Mr. Slade out." And
Lola,
Stretch kind of,
Lola, you don't listen to me. Justice demands that this place be shut down for the protection of the town and the protection of the citizens over your fat pockets and purses.
she says, "You just try it, Wyatt Walker. You just try to tell all the ranch hands and the farmers and the delivery people and the workers and the cattle rustlers and all the other good and bad people whose money spends the same, who come here to be free of their troubles including the Wounded Knight, by the way, that they have nowhere to go, that you are restricting them. They will turn on you, Marshal. And besides," and she kind of like goes in her pocket, she has a bottle of Ghost Speak on, "I am taking precautionary measures."
We'll see how far that gets you.
Let us go to the dusk phase. Do we have any playbook moves that resolve in the dusk? I don't think we do. But let's talk about the Wounded Knight. Let's go find a Wounded Knight prompt. See what we've done so far. Wards, campfire tales, the aged, silent infants, agriculture, and children. Okay. What we're going to do this is a good one. The Holiday from El Paso. Drop this in the chat. It reads, just across the Rio Grande into Mexico is the town of El Paso del Norte, miraculously unaffected by the season of the Wounded Knight. How do residents of El Paso try to sneak across the river and into the other town during the Wounded Knight? And more importantly, what do the residents of El Paso del Norte, what do they do if they're spotted? What do they do with them if they're spotted?
I think I think the people of El Paso, when they leave El Paso during the Wounded Night, eventually something sort of calls them back. You know, they can't just leave. They're kind of stuck there. So they can leave and visit El Paso del Norte, but they're not going to be able to stay there. They're going to have some sort of compulsion to return to El Paso.
I think a couple young lovers have spent some time building a small like boat of reeds. Like it's taken all summer as they were anticipating the Wounded Knight to put this thing together, and they're going to try it out and try and just kind of float across the Rio Grande. But they're afraid if they get spotted, kind of just enjoying the normal town of Del Norte, that the people will make them go back, that they won't let them stay.
There is an enterprising man with a boat who is taking people across the river surreptitiously for the meager sum of $4 per head, and depositing them, out just outside of the town limits in El Paso del Norte. And there are a few folks on the southern side of the border who, when encountering these Americans around the town, are kind of quickly crossing the street and crossing themselves and avoiding them because they know they bring bad luck with them.
Some of El Paso's youths have spent the early part of the summer building up a small, almost like a sandbank in the river that you can't see most of the time, but if you know where it is, it's easy enough to walk across without getting more than the cuffs of your pants wet. And what they don't realize is that almost every time they've been caught, and all of these festivities that the people include them in are actually casting them as the butt of a joke. And all this alcohol that they get inebriated with is basically just terrible quality moonshine to see what the foreigners will do.
All right. So, what is everyone doing tonight for the night phase? We have a few ideas kind of percolating, but let's confirm what everyone wants to do if you get your choice. Sister Mary, are you going to go sneaking around the warehouse?
Yeah, I think I'm going to use the if people are going to be more interested in being on whatever street this guy's cart is going to be on, I'm going to try and use that as a
Distraction.
distraction to sneak into the warehouse.
Travis?
I think perhaps we can switch roles, and I will provide the distraction for Sister Mary this time by attending the medicine show and seeing what I can find out that way.
Slade.
Before we get too far in that, we have 6 clues for the corset, which would let us answer what the corset wants if at a flat roll, if we wanted to give that a go.
That could be fun. I always like answering things at a flat roll. It seems more like risky.
It is riskier. It's probably easier to actually make the theory, interestingly, but I mean, do you all want to take a few minutes to think on this and then we'll come back and do some answer a question? Or
Sure.
we can
We'll
certainly
give it a
do that.
shot.
Yeah.
we have some time to do that. So let's just take let's take 10. We'll come back and do some answer a question. Okay, so I know some chatter was going on while we were on break. Let's who has a theory?
Well, we're actually discussing possibly going for the second opportunity.
With just
And
6 clues?
Yeah, Ben is
Feeling bold.
suggesting
Feeling bold. All right. Well, that's even if you get all the clues in there, it'd be at a -2. If you want to propose a theory, go for it.
Well, we were talking about why Lady Antonia came to El Paso specifically with the corset to
Mhm.
give to somebody. The idea is that, it's been around a really long time, and if she is looking to figure out how to control it, then El Paso during the Wounded Knight might be a pretty good,
Like a medium by which to
yeah,
get power to do that. Yeah. That's a good initial theory. It doesn't
yeah, that's
account.
kind of the
It only accounts for
start.
1 clue. So who has other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the corset. I have an idea for the other question, the 6 question one, or the six complexity. What does the corset want? I think the corset mostly wants to like profane, spoil, and kill. Like I think that's what it wants.
Okay.
And I think Lady Antonia knows that, and she has struck a bargain with it that she will give it more lives than her life. That's why she brought it here.
Okay.
And from here, it has latched on to first the first victim, Luann, who was like in love with the owner, and it destroyed her because like that was like it was just trying to like destroy the like it was trying to attack Diamond Dave while also killing Luann. Like it could if it can achieve like maximum impact, it seeks out ways to do that, and it targets specifically. It seems to be targeting people that like are in love or are like on the cusp of love.
I was
Okay.
wondering if there's some jealousy angle there, yeah, where it's kind of it's going after people who are in love, because we've got that
What
Martha's
if
love
it's
song, and going after Luann, and
going after people who are insecure in their love? 'Cause insecurity, it's kind of just how it's been acting. It's making people look real creepy and
Yeah,
really affecting their physicality.
and that would
And
account
Del
for
Sol
the
said all the victims are wearing masks.
yeah that would account for those. So it wants to kill vulnerable people, I guess.
That accounts for 3 of the clues really well, because Marta was being spurned by Stretch when she was writing her love song. Diamond Dave certainly has the well, the letters were from Diamond Dave to Luann. I wonder what is the insecurity angle there? Or maybe just the mere fact that Lady Antonia gave it to Luann. Like maybe Luann was
Yeah,
trying to be worthy of Diamond Dave's love or something like that. I don't know.
Hmm.
yeah.
That's an intriguing idea. Uh, it's a pretty good case for 4 of the clues with that theory. I'm
Hmm.
not sure about mixing fabrics or why it killed Hannah Russell in the very public, violent way that it did.
It
So
could be
the
that it kind of entices people who are feeling insecure to put it on. Maybe it somehow enticed Hannah into it, putting it on. There's going to be so many people here, and they're all going to see you, and they're going to see you with all these other women that are here who are so much more beautiful and so much more talented. And
Right.
She did have it
Yeah.
on when she died. Yeah.
Yeah, Hannah
Yeah.
Russell put it on because she was insecure going in front of the biggest audience that
Oh, yeah.
had been around.
Mm,
And so it got her in that way.
interesting.
The prohibition on mixing fabrics, I think, just kind of explains like part of how it exists. Like
It's
I
been
don't
a
know that it
really
answers the
around a very
question.
long time, a biblically long time.
It was something different during the Bible
Yeah.
times.
Well, I don't know about
Right, yeah.
I don't know about that. I think it's just like that is a biblical prohibition because things like this are possible when you mix fabrics.
Oh, I see. You're like inviting demons or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's
Yeah.
like it's an
Polyester
unlikely
invites
outcome.
demons.
Yeah, it's an unlikely outcome,
like-
but they were onto something.
We've lost a lot has been lost in the translation.
If
but
this
that's-
if this
yeah.
was a pure cotton corset, there wasn't a chance this would have happened.
No.
It's not gonna happen. I mean, that's certainly a very intriguing theory. I mean, is everyone like on board with this theory? It's the 6 one, not the 8 one. Which I know if you want to do the 8 one, I think you better come up with a good counterfactual or wait and go get more clues. So what do we think?
I'm good with the 6 one.
So it wants to basically destroy people who are insecure.
It like feeds off that basically, it sounds like. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of driving them into those feelings so that it can then kind of feed off that energy.
That would certainly explain some of the strange happenings with Tempany too, a little bit, even though none of that's a clue, but it is interesting context, right?
And narratively, it makes sense.
Yeah, that is there something there about her being insecure about aging, or
Well, if she ran away from home and she's a farm girl, this is a whole new world, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure how we resolve the threat now that we understand what it wants, though.
Yeah, because the resolution is striking a bargain with it. So it moves on. Like that is an interesting outcome. Like it's because you have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the bargain might be that we are not going to mess with it anymore, but like we're also like going to starve it out. Like we're going to shut this place down so it can't get anybody else. But we're going to leave it alone, and so it needs to move on.
Or we'll just we'll like lock it away so nobody can get to it. We'll bury it in a cave, or we'll.
It's already been established that it just shows back up.
So,
right, but it shows back up here. So if we just abandon this place,
if you abandon the Red Rock, that could be a good way of like getting leverage over it, right? Saying like no more,
Right.
The only other
but
alternative
if it agrees to leave, we will take it where it wants to go.
Yeah. What were you saying?
I was thinking if we agrees to leave, we can take it where it wants to go, or we can starve it out. Or the only other alternative I can think of is giving it a never-ending food source.
That's the darker
somebody who's
outcome.
never ever feeling insecure can have it.
I mean, I think the idea of, since we've already kind of like foreshadowed it in the day phase, this idea of like, we'll just stop you from like your hunting grounds are no more, your reserve here is or your hunting preserve is empty, right? That could be,
Yeah,
that might be enough. That might be good leverage.
And then and the bargain can be like, let Antonio take you away again.
Yeah.
Since we won't let you eat here, but we will let you leave.
Yeah. Does everyone agree? Or want to make any adjustments? Or approach it differently?
I agree.
First, does everyone agree on the theory? I suppose that's where we should start.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's roll on that then. Whoever wants to roll it, take it away. It's flat roll. Flat roll.
All right. Nine.
Yeah, you'll succeed. Let's read the exact move text just so we're on the up and up here. On a 7-9, so it's the correct solution and an opportunity can be pursued. but I will add an unwelcome complication to the answer, and or pursuing the opportunity will be more dangerous. The unwelcome complication to the answer is that the only way you get leverage on the thing is if you burn down the red rock. Merely closing it, not enough. It'll find a way. Lola will find a way, inadvertently. If you don't want to deal with that, then you need to all mark Janus Mask.
I love this. I want to burn the red rock down. I want us to have a whole bunch of enemies in town that we now have to fight against in order to do our work. I think that's so fun and dramatic. But I also understand that I love drama, and maybe not everybody else is into loving this drama.
I mean, it is a little bit like throwing out the baby with bathwater, a bit, you know, or it is a literal Pyrrhic victory against the corset.
I would put on a mask if people want to go that way, but I'm good either way.
What we need is a bootstrapper here so we can open up our own operation and provide jobs to all those out of work dancers if we burn the place down. I'm good either way. I think Travis would be against burning the place down, but
Oh yeah,
out of
Sister
Yeah.
Mary
I'm
would
good
not be
either
cool
way.
with letting this thing go, but if she doesn't know about it.
Yeah, I mean, Wyatt's not his favorite plan, but it's living up to his ideals of doing justice by saving the people by destroying, even at the cost of a great thing. So he'll do it if we can't, like, you know, come up with a better way. It sounds like we probably can't.
Mechanically, you will not be able to, but you can certainly try. You can shake the cage door as much as you wish before the inevitable. It also means you may not resolve it tonight too, though, because you might like attempt, you know, and then realize, oh shit, this is not working. So like it's still there, still causing trouble.
Yeah, Sister Mary is fine with burning the red rock down. That place is immoral and all that other stuff. Bad for the spirituality of El Paso, but wouldn't be cool with letting the corset go. But if she doesn't know and she's not there and she's off doing something else, then, well, what she doesn't know can't hurt her.
So make or break time. We're marking Janus Mask or no?
No, I say no.
Sounds like
let's
not,
see what
yeah.
happens.
All right, very good. The opportunity can be pursued only if you burn down the Red Rock Cantina. However that plays out, it plays out. But let's go ahead and continue on with the dusk phase. So with all that said, what's everyone doing tonight? Same plan, Sister Mary?
Yeah, it's probably for the best if she's not around when we do this corset business. So I'm going to go off to do my warehouse plan.
Yeah, especially because you're at a disadvantage when you do things like that. So Travis.
Yeah, I'll stick with the plan as well. I can always use that unwelcome snake to turn up if I'm needed in the Red Rock. So
yeah, that's true. What is your plan then, Wyatt?
I'm shutting down the Red Rock. If it happens to catch on fire, so be it.
Very good. Slade, what's your plan for tonight?
Go with Wyatt.
Okay. I'm taking a look at Sister Mary's core move just because I want to. Yeah, I think you might be at disadvantage if you break into the warehouse, Sister Mary. As you've already explained to us a fair amount today, stealing and surreptitious behavior like that is.
Yeah, I still think I would get away with breaking into a warehouse in order to find out if it's something bad compared to burning down a red rock. I
That's
feel
true.
like
Oh, that's absolutely, yeah. That, I think that's certainly
out of the
more.
two.
Yeah, out of the two, that's probably the less of the two.
Yeah.
Good. All right, let's keep going. I don't think we have any Janus masks actually open right now, do we? I think we're all pretty good on that score. And so let's do the unseen. Now we have a special unseen tonight. Tonight is the Ghost Be Gone unseen. I'll clip a picture of it and
It is at the bottom of the keeper too.
Oh, you have it in there? Oh, good. Well, then we don't do that then. Let's go to the keeper and go to the Ghost Be Gone. It's the very last one. The Pryor family lives on a small homestead just outside of town. They have purchased a bottle of Ghost Begone in order to protect themselves from the ghost of a cattle rustler they've been dealing with for the past few nights. Everyone does paint the scene. Prompt 2 will be David. Prompt 3 will be Ben. And prompt 4 will be Rob. Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do the night phase. Sister Mary. Actually, no. Ghost Begone. Paint the scene for Ghost Begone. The Pryor family. Looking around the Pryor home, everyone. How do we know they have tried just about everything to make the ghostly cattle rustler go away?
I think they originally thought that it was probably haunting their old barn that they don't use anymore. So if you look out the kitchen window where the old barn used to be, you can see the charred remains where they burned it down and salted it to try and get the cattle rustler to leave. Did not work, unfortunately.
They have a really large like stockyard that they have that is completely empty. They've gotten rid of all of their cattle to try and get rid of this rustler.
The local clergy is upset at them for all the times they've been called out to try and exorcise this ghost.
Their house itself is just blazing with the light of so many candles lit inside to try and, ward off any apparition that may enter through the medium of shadow or something.
Sister Mary. I think that before you get too close to the warehouse, you'll realize that, well, you'll probably eye the wagon. You'll see the wagon is set up on San Francisco Street, and Dr. Clarkson and his the boy who does the bugling and presumably the ghost, they're doing their thing. And so that you don't have to worry about them. And you don't have to worry about Harry Etheridge either. He's not around either. But as you approach, you realize that there is someone sitting with their back up against the wall of the warehouse on the outside, having a cigarette. They haven't seen you yet. What do you do?
Do I recognize who it is?
Not at this distance.
I'm gonna try and be sneaky and sneak in the shadows around to get into the warehouse.
Is Travis with you? Travis, where'd you go? I can't remember. Did you end up going with Sister Mary or?
I was kind of going with her, but was going along to the medicine show that.
Oh, that's right. Are you still doing that? You're going to go?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to that then. So Sister Mary, you're going to sneak around back because there's probably a back entrance as well.
Yeah, I'll probably sneak around back. I probably got a basic layout of the warehouse.
Make a night move with. Well, first of all, what do you afraid is going to happen if you get spotted or if you fail?
It's dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they might assume that I'm some sort of thief, the bad kind, and not just sneaking in to check on things, and I'll get shot.
I don't know if this is worse than that necessarily, but you will actually get poisoned. If you are okay with that, you're going to be rolling with, I would say, composure and at disadvantage because of your move, which is but not forgotten.
Yeah. Just taking a quick peek at my personal quarters to see if I can think of a reason.
Balance that out, yeah.
Oh, I think what I'm going to do, the way I'm going to balance this out, is while I'm sneaking, I'm going to take the little nugget of tin that I have from the mine and throw it so it hits something that is on the opposite side of me. So if the person does
Okay, yeah.
like hear anything, he'll probably go that way.
You can roll flat dice. Go for it. Or
And
composure,
that's that is
which
an
is
8.
flat for you. 8. You're going to sneak around back, but you'll discover that the entrance into whatever the secret space is in the back is not immediately apparent. If you're okay with that, we'll keep it going, or you can mark a Janus mask to get in automatically.
I think I'll mark a mask.
All right, we'll come back to that. Travis Walker. You're watching the show?
Mm-hmm.
It is much as before, except now Dr. Jebediah F. Clarkson is aware of you, and he says, "Come now, brothers and sisters of El Paso, true help has arrived. I am a professional with the cure to the trouble that ails you. Ah, you now," he says to you, Travis, "a member of the vaunted Vigilance Committee. Now, citizens, let's not boo too loudly. Amateurs do their best. Come here, dear fellow, and learn something so you're finally of use to these good people." What do you do?
Travis will swagger up, ready to prove himself.
Now, let it be known, everyone, you all saw it here. A member of the Vigilance Committee has come here to learn at the knee of Dr. Jebediah F. Clarkson.
And Travis will call out, "Now, that ain't what's happening here. I'm here to
Now,
establish if there's any truth to these claims, so y'all don't sucker people in to anything illegitimate."
He says, "Ha, ha, ha. Now listen here. I know that you think you have got the best of me, young Mr. Walker, but I assure you, I am helping the people of El Paso. Why, this woman right here," and he pulls some old lady out of the crowd. "Just last night, you were being tormented by an apparition, were you not, madam?" She says, "Yes, I was." She says, "And what did you do, madam?" "Well, I saw that ghost. I believe it was my sister, the ghost of my sister, Irma. And, well, we didn't get along too well in life, and so I had a bad feeling about it. But I held up my bottle of Ghosts Begone, and merely holding the bottle up before the creature was enough to send it away. I didn't even have to drink any." Dr. Clarkson says, "Ha, ha, ha. Well, that's maybe working a little too effective. You should still go ahead and drink it, madam." And everyone's kind of like, there's a murmur and a murmur. Thing. What are you doing right now, Travis?
I think just standing with my, thumbs in my belt, feeling a little out of place, but ready to try and show this doctor up if he does turn out to be a charlatan.
Indeed. Slade and Wyatt Walker. I mean, the Red Rock's bumping tonight. It is. There's a lot of people in both the cantina and the dance hall side. Wyatt, what are you going to do to get them out of there, if anything?
I'm showing up with a shotgun, and I'm clearing this place out.
Just threatening everyone, or?
I mean, with a show of authority and a show of force if necessary.
I like it. Let's do a night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That they won't listen to me, and more people will die on the Red Rock.
Yeah, I think it'll be worse than that. I think there'll be a violent reaction, as Lola suggested. People will be very pissed. You can go ahead and roll certainly with presence, I would say, unless you're triggering a particular move here. I'd say it's presence. And I'm not going to put you at disadvantage, though. I think you would roll it straight. You can, unless you have something on a mark to get advantage.
Yeah, I'm gonna mark Brandy's shotgun.
Okay. Slade, what are you doing in the meantime? You just back up.
Figured I'd be back up, yeah.
Sounds good. Wyatt, go ahead and roll dice.
You said with presence.
Yeah, advantage and presence.
Okay. My presence. 11.
Nice. Yeah, good. If you want to bump it, I'll give you a mastermind clue.
I think I'm a little short on masks to bump it.
All right, fair enough. Go ahead and give us the scene. What does it look like in the beginning?
They've managed to find somebody else who would play the piano, so it's going along. And I come inside and walk over to it, and then I just like close the lid over the keys so that it stops. And then I shout real loud, and I hold up my badge, and I'm like, "All right, now I already talked with Lola about this, and I know she's not happy, but for the safety of the town, we're gonna have to close down the Red Rock." And I think there's like a great big like uproar, like they're not happy about it. And then I put the badge down and hold the shotgun up, and I'm like, "Now you listen here. You're best getting on out of here. I don't want no trouble." And then they start shuffling out.
As they're shuffling out, Slade, Timpani will walk by you, but it's not Timpani. It's Timpani being used as a voice piece for the corset. And she whispers in your ear again. She says, "I suggest you find something else to do, Mr. Slade, or I will tell Marshall Walker what you really are."
You think that frightens me?
I have told you the stakes, Mr. Slade.
I accept them.
She walks out with the rest. Let's cut back over to the poor Priors. David, the ghostly cattle rustler, was murdered on this land some years ago after a shootout with a rival outlaw. As it materializes in the Prior home, how does its appearance reflect its violent death?
It has just an egregiously big shotgun wound in the middle of his back. Like somebody got the jump on him and shot him square in the back, like both barrels of a shotgun. And like whenever the wrestler turns around, you can even see like small speckle holes of like moonlight that would pass through it. That's how it materializes.
Nice.
And I think it always materializes with its back to you first.
Sister Mary, you get around to the back, avoiding whoever that is outside. And you actually see that there is an entrance in the back, but they've made an effort to cover it up. There are normally crates and things pushed in front of it, but you see just a gap big enough, presumably for this person to come out and in, but they've left the gap there, so you can go in. Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Behind, you are led into what looks to be a small distillery, but they are not distilling spirits. They are distilling Ghosts Be Gone. You see some bottles, you see some labels, you see bubbling distillery things, bin things. I forget. I used to know what those were called. Bubbling away. That might be all your answer, but I don't know. What do you do?
I want to know what it's made out of.
Yeah.
What does it smell like in here?
Oh, interesting. Make the information move.
I imagine this is probably with reason.
I would say so. Yeah.
That's a 9.
We'll come back to that. Travis Walker, you are just sitting there dealing with testimonial after testimonial, people walking up. Elmer comes up. Elmer says, not to be confused with Mr. Feeney from last time, by the way. Elmer comes up and he says, why, Travis Walker, just last night, I heard creaking on the stairs of my home. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Elmer. I might be saying to myself, Elmer, maybe that's just a dog. Or maybe that's just your mama going downstairs to get a drink of water from the well. But I assure you, Self and Travis, it was not. It was, in fact, a ghost. And I took a deep swig on that Ghost Be Gone, and I didn't hear that squeaking on the stair steps no more. I believe that ghost saw inside of me a fire that the Ghost Be Gone put in my belly, a rebuking fire, and it went away.
You sure it didn't just put you to sleep, mister?
Furthermore, I found one of my windows open that same night, and I don't remember leaving it open, and I closed it. Who opened it? Ghost, maybe. Who knows? We'll never know, because Ghost Be Gone has given me all the security I need.
Now, why would a ghost need to be opening windows? Can't they walk through walls and such?
You see, young Travis Walker, Dr. Clarkson says, many of your fellow townsfolk are here telling you of the efficacy of this tonic. And I, frankly, resent your skepticism. But nevertheless, you have seen it with your own eyes. I am kind enough to even gift you with a bottle of Ghost Be Gone, so that you can better do your job as a member of the Vigilance Committee.
Well, that's mighty kind of you, Doctor, but I'll see if it comes in handy, but you'll forgive me if I still keep these guns strapped to my hip.
Well, therein lies the problem. The Vigilance Committee can't solve a ghost problem with guns. They're ghosts. They're already dead. You need a better weapon. And he taps the bottle. Meanwhile, everyone is empty, Wyatt. Or the place is emptied out. Diamond Dave and Lola both give you a cutting look as they leave. They never go too far. They always kind of stay by the door. What do you do?
I'm afraid to say, Lola, Dave, y'all best start packing. I'm closing this place down as a danger to the community.
And Diamond Dave is like, I don't think so, Marshall. You don't have the legal authority to do such a thing.
I do have the authority. I can condemn a building if I find that it's a hazard to public health. This is such a hazard, at least during the Wounded Night. Now, don't get me wrong. I have no intentions of keeping it closed forever.
They both look at each other and they're furious. And they turn and they begin like, there's still a fair number of people gathered out in front. And they're like talking. Slade, you can hear them talking. You can hear the nature of the talk. The nature of the talk is, well, this stuff didn't, these strange things didn't start happening until the Vigilance Committee started poking around. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. We don't even need the Vigilance Committee anymore. We've got Ghost Be Gone. And all this kind of talk, right?
I think Slade would walk out and clear his throat as if he's about to make a pronouncement.
Oh, what do you say?
The owners of this building care more for their profits than the lives of their performers. We see this as injustice. What say you?
To the crowd?
Yep.
We'll come back to this. Let's go to poor Priors. Ben, how does Avery Pryor, the head of the household, protect his family until he can retrieve the ghost begone?
They've tried numerous things to keep the ghost's attention away from causing trouble, being a danger. But the one thing they hadn't tried, the one thing they'd had in their back pocket for just such an emergency, is taking down the mounted cow skull from the wall, throwing a blanket over Avery's shoulders, and having him go stand out in the field to be a cow worth rustling to a ghost.
Nice, good. I like it. Let's check in with Sister Mary. Sister Mary, you said you were poking around, seeing what this stuff was made of. What was your die roll?
I rolled a 9.
A 9. I'll give you your clue. The complication is going to be whoever that person is, they're coming back off their smoke break. But the clue is they are making green dye from red onion skins. You see a bunch of red onion skin mash. That is your clue. I don't know how that works. I didn't write that clue. I assume it was well researched.
It's probably real.
I don't know.
I believe everything I read.
Me too. Good. But you hear
Yeah.
someone coming in. What do you do?
I would like to grab a handful of red onion skin mash to stick in my pocket.
You can do that.
And I'm gonna hide under something, hopefully close to the door. The idea is when I get a chance, I'll sneak out that crack again.
Make the night move. It's going to be a disadvantage. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm gonna get caught and probably get shot.
It's worse than that. You're going to get drugged again. There's a drugging that's going to happen here. Go ahead and roll with I would say composure.
Composure at disadvantage. What's my composure? Oh, nothing. Oh, that's a 10.
Very nice.
Jeez.
Good. We'll come back to that. Travis Walker, you are clearly part of the show now. Like the Dr. Clarkson is making is having really, really good luck just making you the focus and the locus of his argument, right? Oh, a gun. Ha ha ha. What a fool. These are ghosts. Guns aren't going to help you. Ghost Be Gone will help you, right? And people are starting to kind of give you a hard time, trying to, say that maybe you're scared that Dr. Clarkson's going to steal your job and that he's going to show you up and da 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 and so on and so forth. What are you doing right now?
Travis is starting to simmer with anger over this, and I think he's going to offer a challenge to the doctor that well, doctor, why don't we put this to the test? Now, rumor has it that there's a ghost ship coming down the river this way. And the Vigilance Committee been investigating this, and we're gonna deal with it, but might be that if your Ghost Be Gone is as effective as you say, you can deal with it more effectively than we can.
Night move. It's going to be presence. I think that because you're marked by Dr. Clarkson, I'm going to put you at disadvantage. But what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail to convince him right now? Or if just this plan goes poorly?
I think maybe what I'm afraid of is that he will succeed spectacularly and show me up, and it'll just be more ammunition for his argument that the Vigilance Committee is useless.
Very interesting. I think it's worse than that. I think it's worse than that. The people insist that Dr. Clarkson be put in charge of the Vigilance Committee. That would be the ultimate problem. Go ahead and roll with presence. Let's see how it goes.
I'm just looking at my personal quarters to see if there's anything that can help me out there. But I don't think there is. So let's see. Four. Might be time to don a mask for that one.
Maybe. It's a long-term outcome, which is the thing. You could just let it play out. But you know what's going to happen, basically, if you don't. So, but what he's going to do is he's going to start he will take you up on it, and he's going to ask for volunteers to march out down the river to the Memphis with him right now. Group of people going out to the ship. And there are people clutching their bottles of Ghost Be Gone, willing to do the deed.
I mean, even if I put on a mask, it's only going to go up to 7 to 9, right? So
you'll succeed then, which you'll get what you were trying to get, which is basically you're trying to show him up, right? You're trying to get him to do this, but be made a fool. Yeah,
or back down from attempting it.
Yeah, and therefore look like a coward.
Yeah. I will put on a mask.
Very good.
Much as I'm tempted to let chaos reign here.
Indeed. Slade, you said you were trying to. Did you roll dice, Slade? You got a 10, right?
I did not roll.
Oh, you did not roll. I like a presence roll here, and you've got so many marked by the corset. I think you're good. That's bad news. You have to roll disadvantage.
All right. Ten.
You will convince the crowd to give you the space you need to do this. Even if it doesn't happen tonight, the Red Rock is shut down. What does it look like?
Slade will look out over the crowd after he asked them their thoughts on the proprietor's values, and I think he'll see that some of them are starting to sour, and some of them are turning away, and he'll just look over at Lola and say, "We will do everything we can to get you back into business when appropriate."
Lola and Diamond Dave stomp off as the crowd dissipates. I think you've earned access to the Red Rock, and the Red Rock, at least no townspeople will be in there anytime soon, at least not for performing or patronizing. Wyatt, you hear some noise coming from one of the upstairs apartments. What do you do? You can hear it very well because it's so quiet now.
Does it sound like a person is up there?
Yeah, it sounds like just someone kind of moving things around. You just hear maybe steps, that kind of thing.
I look at Slade, and where did Diamond Dave and Lola get off to?
They all just kind of went off. Yeah, they all just went off down the street for now.
Mr. Slade, you know the plan. We best make sure this place is empty. and no one is around before we implement it. I hear something coming from upstairs.
I will go look.
I will begin preparations down here.
What do those preparations involve?
I go over to the bar and I start pouring alcohol all over the place.
Oh, you're going straight to burning it down. Okay. Slade,
I think Slade will look at him and say, I perhaps did not understand the plan.
No witnesses, Mr. Slade, but justice demands we remove this building for the season of the Wounded Knight.
He'll consider it for a moment and then start upstairs.
There's someone in the dressing room. When you go inside, you see a tall, elderly woman, perfectly bald, dramatically, grotesquely cinched by the corset, sitting in front of a mirror, putting rouge on her wrinkly cheeks. Her hands terminate in fingernails like talons. And she stands up. She's taller than you. And she turns and she says, do I understand correctly that you are going to burn down my hunting grounds?
That does seem to be the case. If you will not leave willingly, we will starve you out.
I will not stop you. I will move on. But before I leave, I will fulfill my promise, Mr. Slade.
Marshall Wyatt is my friend.
She goes downstairs. Our last stop at the Pryor household. Rob. The ghost be gone does nothing to dissuade the ghost. Describe Avery Pryor's death at the hands of the cattle rustler.
After it's dealt with the beast that was left outside as a distraction, the rustler turns toward the house and, advancing slowly, it comes directly through the wall of the house, and Avery Pryor is kind of, his hand shaking, drinks down the ghost be gone and is calling on God and the good spirits to protect him, his family, and himself from this foul specter. But it just opens its, it leans back its head, its ghostly hat tipping back to reveal a rictus grin underneath, and it reaches a hand into his chest and squeezes, and you just see this look of surprise and on his face, and a coldness. The color just drains out of his face and he crumples to the ground.
Sister Mary, the person who comes into the distillery is a woman you actually know. Her name is Clarice Dovers. She's an older woman with graying black hair. She's currently wearing sweaty work clothes, and her hands are stained green, presumably from this work she's doing. But you're able to sneak away, no problem. But at least you've marked who she is.
I would like to mark a mask to get that 10 to a 12 and get a mastermind clue.
Well, so you were doing the night move, so
Oh, sorry.
the
I
12
thought
plus
that
is
was,
just
yeah.
a bonus. But I'll give you
Never
a
mind.
mastermind clue though. I don't mind.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Let me take a look real quick.
We can come back to that because I should have mentioned.
No,
that
I got it.
earlier.
It's okay. What conditions do you have? Do you have most beloved?
Yes.
I think she walks in, and though she is pretending like she doesn't see you, and maybe she doesn't in a weird way, she puts a note on a bench right next to you. It's even got your name on it. And it says, "Get out of town before it is too late."
I'm going to snatch that note and stick it in my pocket before I sneak out the door.
Indeed. Travis Walker, we will learn what happened to this group that's going out to the river later. But they are marching out to the river. And as they leave, as they're kind of marching out, Dr. Clarkson leans over to you quietly and says, "If something happens to those people out there, deputy, it's on you, not me."
If something happens to those folks out there, I'll be taking you into custody, mister.
And he just arms them all with the bottle of Ghost Be Gone as they walk out towards the river. Wyatt Walker, the corset in its materialized form, the tall old woman, bald old woman with the claw-like hands. You see her. She says, "Don't worry, Marshal. I'll go. The people here are no better than anywhere else. But you should know that your friend upstairs, he's here for you. Your friend upstairs is spoken of in Revelations and is known in every culture across the world and across time. Your friend sneaks into your window every night to see if it's your time. You keep narrowly avoiding his grasp. Ask him why. He won't shake your hand without a glove on." And she just walks towards the cantina door. She says, "I have appreciated your town's hospitality." She turns and leaves. No one outside, if there's anybody out there still, notices her. Slade, you probably overheard all that.
Yeah, I think Slade is just standing on the stairs, just watching this.
Wyatt, what
The
are you thinking?
marshal's watching Slade and not the corset as it leaves. And he takes the last gas lantern off of its hook and sets it on the ground and takes off its cover. I reckon that accident will happen sometime soon, Mr. Slade. But I don't know if that bothers you at all.
I do not like breaking my promises. I will have to make this right.
And what promise is that?
I told the owners we would do what we could to get them back in business.
I told them to take their valuables and go. They can open their business when they're ready. Goodness knows they've taken enough from this town. Wyatt looks at the cellar door where the bodies were kept.
They have. Through negligence or malice, they have.
And then you light the place up.
Yeah, I think we just leave. We'll just let that fire catch whenever it catches.
Good. Let's go to the dawn. Is everybody okay on time? We're a little past time. We should be able to finish that pretty quick.
I can do dawn, but I gotta run pretty quick after that.
Okay.
Same.
We can just pick up dawn next time if we want to. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and just put a pin, and we'll do the dawn phase when you can do Janus Mask and all that stuff, you know. But for now, let's go to Stars and Wishes. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I really liked Dr. Clarkson. The idea of that character and his grift is such an interesting addition to the town, and I think it's going to be providing a lot of opportunities to learn more about the people of the town and how the Wounded Knight affecting. So big star for that, and also for your portrayal. As usual, every scene between Sister Mary and Travis is always good. I can't wait for the scene when Sister Mary gets on Slade's case about the Bible. That's going to be fun. I got quotes all lined up. I wish to see more of how Wyatt is going to react to what he heard tonight. And I wonder if that triggers Slade's move to give Wyatt basically night vision. But yeah, this was really good. I like every opening scene with Travis and Wyatt is also really good. You can imagine the soft guitar background music as these two brothers go through their family dramas and discuss the nature of their jobs here, and it's always fun. This was good session.
Yeah,
it's
stars
always.
for the oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So, stars for the new threat, the Ghost Be Gone. It's so fun. It's so classic, and I'm really having a great time with it. I really like the idea of all these people taking their Ghost Be Gone and going down to this, it's just it's gonna be so bad, and I'm so happy it happened. There's a lot of chaos in here where I was just like, let the chaotic thing happen. I want to see it. So that was just a really fun session for a chaos lover. I also really like all the scenes with Travis and Wyatt. I think it's a really fun relationship. I love how all the bad guys are trying to out Slade. It's just really fun. Yeah, this was a really fun session. I just had a really good time overall. So thank you.
Yeah, despite me being like half asleep because I can't sleep all week because of the heat wave here, it was a great session, and yeah, I there were so many revelations. So now Slade's secret is out. We've got this fun thing of like the two threats kind of mashing together with the people going after the boat. The Red Rock's on fire. There's it feels like things are kind of coming to a head in an interesting way. I'm really excited to see what happens with Slade. Yeah, I always having fun with Travis's relationship with Sister Mary and with Wyatt. That's always a highlight of the session for me. So thanks to everyone for a great session as usual.
This is the first time I've run Ghost Be Gone, and I really enjoyed it. I like the way Ghost Be Gone affects the town, and I like how it affects the structure of like the gameplay. Like I changed a couple things when I was editing this one, and I made like the moments. This is the only threat that has moments that occur chronologically. So you do them in order, and they represent like a deepening of the Ghost Be Gone having its grip on the town, but also the unseen as well, which that gets worse too. That whole angle gets worse. And so it's kind of fun. It's fun to see how it kind of affects things. And Dr. Clarkson is a really fun character to play. So I really love that a lot. I enjoyed all the 1v1 scenes. I thought those were all really, really good. Even the group scene was really good. I think it's so interesting that Travis essentially sent these people out to die. It's like, you know what's going to happen when they go out there. And so, because Slade told you all, and so they're going to go out there, and the Memphis is going to shoot them, right? So and so that'll be really intriguing. I will note that Dr. Clarkson didn't go with them. He just armed them with the Ghosts Be Gone and sent them on their way. That alone is probably proof enough that he's no good. So anyway, yeah, I'm loving all that. It's all just really good stuff. Yeah, just I liked it. I liked the little kind of sneaking around stuff with Sister Mary. It was really fun. It's kind of a change of pace. So that's really cool. Yeah, and I'm curious to see how this the Slade Wyatt thing resolves itself.
Yeah, I thought that everybody's individual scenes were really cool. I liked how like Sister Mary and Travis have like kind of become like closer over the past few sessions, and even like they're kind of like going on missions together, and trying to deal with the Dr. Clarkson issue. Curious to see how things kind of ratchet up with the Rebel Gold, now that the Memphis is getting closer and closer, and that's kind of becoming imminently a problem. Like, I don't know how it's gonna go if like Travis sent these people out to die and kind of knew it, and Wyatt finds out about that, like, because he just spent the entire night like destroying a building to try and save just like one or two more people.
Well, how's the town going to respond to all this, right? I mean, like burning
Yeah.
down the Red Rock. Travis kind of, it was kind of Travis's idea, like marching out to the river. Even if like people don't believe in the Ghosts Be Gone anymore, there's certainly going to be some people who are raw about how that all shook out. It's intriguing. It does feel like things are coming to a head, and it feels like the pressure is ratcheting up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of mid-season finale feeling like it's getting close to happening. So curious to see how that goes.
And that note, which is only given to the most beloved, the note from that says "Get out of town," right?
Yeah.
Any other stars or wishes?
One really quick star. I really like how Slade has this really protective nature about like keeping people alive, which is entertaining because of who Slade is, and how Sister Mary does not really have that, which is sort of a strange dichotomy that I like. And I wish to see more of it.
Any other stars or wishes? Okay, we will pick up with the Dawn phase next time we meet. Let's go ahead and wave goodbye. Bye.